back live inside of the Spodek, and as people have flurried all into the concession stands to try to pick up themselves some sweet, sweet refreshments going into this next BO3, now is the time I get to introduce myself. Trace Saranthus, you might know me as Stunna, you might know me as a lot of different things, but right now I find myself here posted up on the sofa with none other than Natu. Now, Natu, obviously, big fan of ENCE, probably the biggest fan of ENCE. Is that fair to say?
I think that's a fair thing to say, for sure, yeah.
It's been quite the run for the Finnish scene here. Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, what is the major for ENCE? It's been quite a ride.
Going back all the way into 2016, it was our main goal when we first started with Counter-Strike, right? We wanted to bring Finland back on the major level, right? Because honestly, Finnish Counter-Strike used to be a big thing, but then was just absent for like a decade. It took us a couple tries, but finally we're getting there. Obviously, it's been a long grind. It's been a year, but it's just great to see that we've been able to find these new talented guys and find the chemistry. That's the big thing.
Now, 2018 rounded out pretty well for you guys. I think you capped it off with the DreamHack Open Winter win there, and that kind of cemented, all the progress that you guys had made. You really showed face in 2018. Was there anything that was said during the holiday break? Was there anything that happened behind the scenes? Was it all pretty much, hey guys, you need to stay the course?
Yeah, I just think we needed to just stay on course and keep doing the things that we're doing, because I think the fundamentals are there. I think the team is playing like a really good brand of Counter-Strike that I really like. They're obviously like players that don't have necessarily the kind of experience to play on these type of stages. It's going to be a big one for four of these guys. Everyone else, except for Alu, hasn't played in this type of a situation before. So in the big picture, it's just all about running with all the parts of the engine, basically, and keep on grinding.
Now, you say that, and obviously we've been spending quite a bit of time here in Katowice. In fact, we were there for the minors together, watching the entire process for ENCE. I know that has to be a very proud moment for you, but talk to me a little bit about what the feelings are like inside the team. I mean, these are young guys, minus Alu, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually surprising to me coming here. I came here when they went 0-2, and I left and they went 3-2, so I might have been a bad omen being here. Good thing I went back home, right? No, I mean, it was surprising for me to see, considering they went 0-2 in the Legends stage, that they kept their composure. When I was talking with them, when I was with them, I couldn't see a difference. Like they just seemed like, nothing's changed. We're just going to keep on doing our things. And felt like that big game when they were 0-1 down in maps, 0-7 in the second map, and then got 7 in a row. It kind of just, something clicked.
Now, something clicking on top of that is the fact that you guys actually put out quite a bit of documentary series there. There's quite a bit of footage of ENCE behind the scenes. And I have to ask, I know that a lot of organizations do these sort of things. How edited is that? Is that as raw as it can possibly be?
It's not as raw as it could be. Obviously, it could be even more. But I think like the approach that I wanted to have with it is that I want to bring authentic feel of a team, the chemistry, how these individuals function as a unit, what their personalities are like. And if they have a moment where they're fighting with each other, if they're having like a bit of a situation going on, I want people to see, that it's not always just fun and games. Sometimes it's about having a bit of a heated conversation. And it feels like, we've had like 450,000 views through the series. So, I mean, It's definitely landed well with the community. And that's something I'm really, really happy about, because it's been something that I really wanted to do for a long time, to really showcase what it's about to be a Counter-Strike team.
Yeah, and I think that's a deeper look in that a lot of people take for granted. I think there's still a majority of people out there that feel like these guys just connect to the server and they just run around and try to frag, and that's it. And you lose or you win, and that's the way she goes sometimes. But at least for ENCE, you guys have built quite the story over there. I mean, we've seen it before with Denmark and Astralis and how just alive a nation can become. But it feels like you guys have done the same thing with Finland.
We're trying to do our best, really. I mean, everything that we do behind the scenes as well is striving towards being as professional as possible, giving the guys the conditions, the help they need to progress through the ranks and become a force in the esports scene in general. It's not only Counter-Strike, but in the big picture as well. I mean, we have Cyril here playing as well in StarCraft 2. He was dominant last year in his own game, and the CSGO lineup has been doing great. So it's just constant work for us, and we just want to kind of push the boundaries all the time.
Well, pushing the boundaries as you will. Have you noticed, and this is a little bit deeper down that hole, have you noticed any changes with your players coming into this sort of fame, this stardom, and now you find yourself here at the champion stage of the major? This is what it's all about for those guys.
I think there's definitely been moments throughout the last a year or so that they've been together where maybe a slight bit of complacency was there for brief moments, but then they were thankfully taken down in tournaments, in situations that they would really realize that, no, we need to keep on working. And I think they have their head in the right place, which is cool to see for such a young lineup, a team with so little experience, that they're just having a good time. I mean, it feels to me like their approach for this quarterfinal, for example, is just, let's seize the moment, enjoy it. I mean, we're going to be playing in front of like 10,000 people. It's the biggest stage we're going to be playing on since, for Fordham for their whole career. So it feels like from a mental standpoint, they're in a really good spot right now.
Now, if they had to look up anywhere, if they had to really, obviously with Alu being that sort of veteran and that leader naturally within the squad, is that how it all kind of unfolds?
It is. I think it's natural, really. I mean, he has all that experience, and the guys really listen to his thoughts. I think, he helps a lot with like the fundamental parts of Counter-Strike, such as how to react in certain situations. I think there's a lot of Counter-Strike knowledge and wit with the team. I think they're all pretty smart when it comes to CS, but I feel like that last few percentage that you need in these like high-quality, high-class Counter-Strike games against the top-tier teams, this is where Ali will definitely shine. I think he's the one going to be taking initiative and sometimes be the most vocal guy and even have a game plan if things start getting a little rough. So he definitely is. He's the dad of the team.
Would you say he's also the inspiration of the team?
Has to be, right? I mean, he's the best-known Finnish CS player, I would dare to say, like, ever, right? And he's done a lot of cool things on his career. So I think he's a pretty cool guy to look up to when you're playing with him. And I really enjoyed back in the day when I played with him. I could tell that this guy's gonna be a star.
Well, it's been a long way since the Walla Walla Wasp Whackers. Now we have ENCE here, poised to take down Team Liquid or not. Only time will tell, but for the time being, we need to talk a little bit about some of the inspirations going into this matchup. In fact, we have a speed session signed up for you right now. Let's take a look.
The players who inspired me the most, I would say Getrine and Forest, because I've been there for like more than 10 years competitively. They're still passionate as ever, and yeah, definitely, and they're really like good human being, I would say.
I'd never really looked up to an individual in a sense that I admire him. I have a lot of respect towards players who have achieved a lot.
Probably nothing. Jordan, he's probably one of my inspirations just in the beginning. But I think like as I kind of progressed throughout my career, I just kind of became my own person, I think. So I didn't really have an inspiration at that point.
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is probably just CS-wise, probably just Olaf Meister back in the day and Fnatic. When I first started playing the game, well, when I first started going pro at CS, I looked up to him a lot. Like, he was the best at the time and he was just destroying everyone. So yeah, definitely him.
3 players, Nico, Adrian and Hobbit, and the whole my team.
The player who inspired me the most would be Existence, since he's a great leader and I learned really much from him.
There were a few players, legends that I played with in my early days of CSGO, and this included Warden, Storm, Volcano, and XP3. It's like a really old team, and I was like a young guy, and they kind of taught me the ropes, and I think I attribute a lot of my success and growing as a player to playing with these guys.
Hello, I've been let loose in the audience, so I thought I'd go and dig out a couple of ENCE fans. And actually, they drove all the way from Finland to be here in Katowice today, and I imagine they probably didn't expect to be on camera, did you, Olaf?
No, we didn't, yeah.
And so what's it like for you seeing your boys in the top 8 for the first time? What? You're seeing your favorite team in the top 8. This is their first major.
Yeah, well, we knew it already about a year ago when this roster was built.
You knew a year ago that they'd be on that stage. Did you book your tickets then?
Yeah.
And actually, show me this poster, because you've got your T-shirts, but actually, is this from your printer?
Yeah.
You printed it out and stuck it together. That is dedication. What is it that you love so much about ENCE?
Well, how good you love full Finnish team who are myllying that hard and playing that consistent on that high level.
And I'm going to come over to you, Ego, as well. Actually, your mate's got some pizza. Can I nick a slice? There we go. I'm just going to... Look, it's really hungry work interviewing Simple on stage. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm going to eat this in a second, Egil, but I just want to ask you quickly, what's the prediction? What's your prediction on the score?
2-0.
To ENCE or to Liquid?
Well, to ENCE, of course.
Okay, you've got your boys back, and actually, that's probably my cue to tell you that ENCE versus Liquid is coming up next.
ENCE is unpredictable and dangerous. They have some really young talent. I don't know like what their style is necessarily. The only player I really know is Alu and Sergey.
Denied here. Oh my goodness. 1 versus 1 now. That is so sick from Sergey.
He's been playing really well recently, and they've been winning like the smaller tier tournaments, but it's still an accomplishment in itself.
Obviously, Liquid is a world-class team. They have been playing really good. I think they just have the confidence, and they just know that they are the better team on the rankings. So we just need to go with our own game and with our heads into the game and just hit our shots.
My team is just better individually. I think our tactics are more together and cohesive right now. Their factor, if they want to beat us, has to be either Alu or Sergey going off.
It's our first time on the big stage and first time on the major. We have nothing to lose here. We're just play very confident CS and not play scared, not think that who they are. We just have to show what we're capable of.
Whatever the fans want to cheer for, they're welcome to. We've been on both sides so far, and I think it just fuels us no matter if they're for us or against us. We're very confident like against a team like ENCE, and it should be up for a good match.
Vodafone presents the pre-match.
That's right, the Vodafone pre-match is now. We're roughly 1,400 kilometers from Helsinki. Those guys had quite the road trip on their hands, and so have you here in Katowice. We do find ourselves in the Celestian, but honestly, this is where you want to be. If you are involved in Counter-Strike, if you've watched it once or twice, this is where you want to watch it. The Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Major 2019 has more than heated up here in Katowice. My name is Trey Saranthus. If you just missed me on the sofa, I've actually found my way over here to the desk alongside two of the brightest minds in all of Counter-Strike, perhaps even all of history of Counter-Strike itself. I do have the lovely Sean Gares, always looking magnificent. Then we do have Chad Sponge Burchill.
I just get to stand here. We did a bit of a change, but I like it. I get a fresh look as well, so it's good from my position.
I like being pumped up like that, Trace.
You like
Thank
that?
you.
Sort of like that uplifting vibe right away?
Bring up my confidence.
Well, that's what I got to do, and I actually got to bring you guys up a little bit more because this matchup that we have on our hands, being Liquid versus ENCE, is one that's going to be sending one to meet Na'Vi, who we just saw take down the big side of FaZe Clan. Now, before we get any closer to what is the live on 3, we're going to be taking a look into who is Liquid in their path up to this point. Let's check it out.
I feel great after making it to the champion stage. I feel like we played well versus all of our matchups. Now it's time to focus on the trophy. I think it met our expectations. A couple of the games could have been cleaner. I think our Na'Vi series is probably the best one yet. We made a couple mistakes versus NIP and Avangard, but we cleaned those up and prepared for the day. Eric's a great mind for strategy, and so is Jake. They've really helped us kind of change our play style a bit, so we're playing a slower pace. We don't always have to rely on fast stuff now to be good, and I think it's working out really well for us. Jake, I don't know, just a new aggressive player in the team, and that's what we needed. We have a lot of passive players, but all of us are good at being aggressive too. We just don't like playing aggressive sometimes. We're always confident versus Astralis. I don't believe Na'Vi is one of our tougher opponents. We just happen to play them a lot at events. I think Astralis is our main opponent right now.
Astralis, their main matchup, but that is going to be quite some distance away as well. They are on opposite sides of the bracket. That one played out quite well all on its own.
I think this whole matchup right here is the David versus Goliath, right? We use that all the time, but this one right now is you have a team who, at least last major, I considered the ones who were going to take it. They were going to, beat Astralis and dethrone them. And coming into this again, they've shown really positive signs. And I don't know about you, Sean. I guess you're the resident expert, but to me, this looks like the best North American roster ever formed.
I couldn't agree more. This is definitely the best North American roster ever. And Nitro referred to ENCE as the young team, but oddly enough, Liquid is the younger team with an average age of 21. People don't realize that because they're so good. they're actually a very young team.
And this is a team that has actually beaten Astralis. This is a team that's pushed the world's best right to the brink there, and they've actually succeeded in some rights. And obviously here they would be the final boss should they barrel through the bracket, ENCE being that first stopping point.
Yeah, and it feels like a good place for them to start because one of the big question marks for me about Liquid is their map pool, right? They haven't played Train and they haven't played Nuke with Stewie on the roster. Now, the reason I'm asking this question is they go up against Astralis on Nuke all the time. But Stewie, in 2018, didn't play Nuke at all. In 2017, I believe he played it 8 times, right? So he doesn't have a huge sample size, and he's the lowest rated player right now for Liquid. Now, that's not saying a lot, right? But so far, he's the lowest rated player. Slotting him into a map where he might not feel comfortable, how's he going to feel?
Yeah, and I think that was the big question mark around putting Stu 2K on this lineup, right? We know that he has the potential to do just about anything that he wants to do within the game in the confines of that, but how is he going to mesh in this lineup?
I think the pathway Liquid has to the finals, if they were to make it, is super ideal because all of the teams that they would face along the way, now that Na'Vi has advanced, like to play Train and Nuke. And if they reach the finals, and if Astralis is there, they would have had experience dealing with those vetoes and, you know, in less is better scenarios for sure than playing Astralis.
Yeah, I mean, Liquid only having to show 4 maps to get to this point in the tournament thus far. So whatever question marks you have around this lineup, those 4 maps aren't likely to tell you all your answers.
Yeah, and plus, you were on the couch with Natu talking about ENCE, right? And they've had such a road, right? They've picked maps to try and punish teams like Renegades on you, and they've been beaten handedly. So for ENCE here, and it's been spoken about their experience, Alexi B said they have nothing to lose in that little interview before. He's right. They don't have anything to lose. They have only 4 of them. 4 of them have never played on a stage of this scale, and the Finns are normally pretty emotionless. I don't think they're going to be like that today, Trace.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw the opening ceremony today is I can't imagine how ENCE is going to feel when they enter that stage because they have all these players, other than Alu, that haven't experienced that yet.
Right. That sheer amount of pressure that is the major weighing down right on top of them in this moment. ENCE versus Liquid here in our quarterfinals, and we actually do have the opportunity to speak with Nitro through Frankie, of course, and hear what he has to say going into this matchup.
Nitro, the big stage is just over there. You played at IEM Katowice last year and unfortunately were knocked out in the semi-finals. This is the quarterfinals, so no nerves, right?
No nerves going into it. I think it's a very strong team in the past, but we never played them in an official. But I think it's going to be a great match for us.
How have you prepared to face them then if you've never faced them before?
I think our map pool is actually very good against theirs. I think we can pick to their weakness, basically, and I think it's going to benefit us.
What is their weakness?
I can't really say it on stream, but you'll see.
Okay, I mean, we've watched them ourselves. I'm just curious what you think, Nitro. Now, you're playing slightly slower, you're being more careful with the strats, you're not going in all guns blazing. So what's it like for you to call those strats?
Ever since Stewie joined the team, he brought a little bit of Cloud9 and MIBR into our gameplay, and it's really benefiting us. So we'd like to take it more methodically nowadays.
So you're kind of enjoying a little bit of that Brazilian flavor?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and what do you think the result's going to be today?
I think it'll be 2-0 for us.
2-0 for you. And who do you think you might face if you get through in that semi-final tomorrow?
I think it's me and Na'Vi, yeah.
Okay, and last time you beat them 0-2, so you must be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's always a great matchup, especially playing against Simple. He's on fire this tournament like always, and it's always a great match.
Well, I think the next match is going to be fantastic, so go get ready with your teammates, and let's head back to the desk.
Yeah, interesting tidbit there. He wants to bring in all flavorful, full taste of what was BR Counter-Strike, bring it over to Liquid, and you've got a little bit of Cloud9 sprinkled on top. Could make for a good recipe.
And I just have to give credit to Nitro because people overlook him when it comes to the in-game leader role. But when I watch Liquid play Counter-Strike, they play the most fundamental Counter-Strike other than Astralis. They play phenomenal CS, and they give a lot of different looks.
I was going to say, at this point, he is the franchise player. There's 1,000 maps on record right now for him in Team Liquid, and they've played 1,000 maps as well. So Nitro's the man.
He's been around quite some time. Nitro no longer a rookie by any means. In fact, he's one of the tallest adversaries here in the server that we're going to see today, but he's not alone. In fact, I got 2 more faces to introduce to you while we wait for these vetoes. It's going to be your commentators. It's Vince and Moses. And you know, Moses, I couldn't let you wear a tie alone. And I just,
Thanks, brother.
I hope that everyone at home can get a taste of what it is you have on right now.
No one wants to taste that mustache, Trace. It's a nasty one.
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah, I brought a little bit of a, we can't have a major without Anders in some fashion, right? So we got to get him involved. It's a gift from my brother as well, my birthday, so I got to give him a shout out. But this is...
What a horrible gift.
This is the face of beauty. This is what a mustache should be.
I think it's beautiful. Personally, I want to get Vince's thoughts on the actual tie, and then obviously we can talk about ENCE and Liquid, but the tie first.
It's the greatest tie of all time. Let's be honest. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's something. That's for certain. It's maybe a one-time wear.
It could be. Well, it's definitely rung a few bells, but I want to ask you guys about ENCE and Liquid real quick while we wait for these vetoes.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about kind of the feeling going into this one. Obviously, Liquid having earned that easier path, so to say, but by the time that they get into the tournament, the teams are at a much, much higher caliber.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously Liquid is going to be overwhelming favorites, and I think this would have to be such a massive upset for ENCE to pull this off, and we've seen them kind of do it, and I think that grind back from 0-2 is super impressive, but this is a whole new caliber of opponents that they're going to face up against. So even though they have those players, I think the pressure of the stage was a great point to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is definitely where things step up a great deal. But for ENCE, I mean, they've already achieved so much further than many people anticipated. So maybe there's an element of the pressure's off here. Like anything at this point is just a nice, juicy bonus.
Yeah, and anything on top. Sorry, I hate to cut you off, Jason.
that was rude.
I mean, we've got to keep the show flowing, man. It's just how these things work. You know, I got these voices in my head. Speaking of the show flow, let's talk about maps, guys. This is a best of 3. Again, a quarterfinal here on the biggest stage you can possibly imagine. How does it start?
That's the permaban, right, for ENCE. So that one's as we expect. But now I'm curious as to where, okay, so this tells me, so they're happy to float nuke, which means they must have practiced it, which also means, as we're going to be further in the tournament, maybe there's a 7-map pool right now for Liquid. So,
oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, we do have Mirage and Inferno being those first 2 maps. Let's just go ahead and start to center right around what Mirage is. I mean, we do have Liquid starting on the CT side.
So that's the comfort pick of ENCE, right?
Yeah.
They came into this major, I believe, with an 11-map streak on Mirage. Obviously, that's been broken at this point. But that's them picking into their comfort rather than trying to punish Liquid with a nuke pick here.
Yeah, look, I think the problem there is because Mirage is such a comfortable map for Liquid as well, it might be comfortable for ENCE, but Liquid are going to feel at home on this one as well. So for them, it's not... they get the nukes banned for free in the second, so there was no punish coming in. And then you have Overpass as the third. And Overpass is a map, you know, when I talk about this Liquid roster, all 5 players on this team, well, maybe not a Liege, don't mind picking up the AWP. So on a map like that, they can be really versatile. But the thing overall with this ENCE roster is when they kicked off the minors, right? The 2 highest rated players were Sergey and Aerial. You move on to the challenger stage. Sergey's still the highest rated player, but Aerial's dropped down to the 4th for his team. Then you go to the legend stage where they're versing the highest caliber opponents they've met so far. Sergey is the lowest rated player, and Aerial is the 4th. So the 2 best players, when they kicked off this whole campaign, have dropped off significantly.
Another fun fact about those stats, everyone on Liquid is higher than every single person on ENCE.
Wow.
Stewie with a 1.09.
Okay.
Jinx.
I like that.
Wow together. Wow. I mean, that does put it into perspective. ENCE's not going to have a walk in the park here today, no matter how you look at it. I think that all the odds and all the chips are stacked up against them. But I guess in terms of their own silver linings, what do you got, Chad?
I think it's just another step in the learning that is for ENCE, right? Because they've been doing this gradually. They play fundamental Counter-Strike. They have the veteran in there. And that every tournament they go to, every tournament they win, every different stage, it's a chance for them to learn something new. Because we talk about them being a young team. Some of their players, you know, around the mid-20s and 23, 24. Obviously, Alu's the oldest at 26. But they're doing it the right way. And I don't want to rule them out completely. There's always a chance for an upset. But right now, from my standpoint, it's seeming pretty impossible.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't want to be all doom and gloom because they had such a phenomenal run to even be here, right? Down 0-2, down a map, and down 0-7 in the second map, as Natu said. And they somehow managed to claw their way back into this. But Liquid's a whole nother beast.
Who are you giving credit for that? I have to look towards Alexi B, though, right?
Yeah,
he stepped up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he stepped up like massively for these guys. And he's the in-game leader as well, which, you know, I critique and say, oh, it shouldn't be up to the in-game leader to make the plays. But if he's the only one seeing the gaps and he doesn't feel that he can trust anybody else to do the job, that's just the way it has to be.
In terms of players and individuals stepping up, Alexi B is definitely on the radar. And stepping up for what it is the in-game leader is a much taller task at hand. And perhaps one of the biggest tasks I think that ENCE have had a problem with maybe is their T-sides.
Yeah, okay. So for these guys, when they do play the fundamental style of Counter-Strike, it is cookie cutter. So when you're versing an opponent who's more experienced, who knows how to play against that style all the time, what kind of happens is they can read you very easily. And that's why when players have to step up like Alexi B and they go for moves that are unorthodox, at that point, he's finding the gaps and he's changing the game on his own. That's where it kind of, you know, gets a little bit dicey because no one else so far has proved they can step up and change the game.
I do respect Alexi B too. You mentioned the documentary that ENCE has, and watching that, you realize how much much of a leader he actually is despite his young age. He's the one that's telling the team everything what to do in these post-game, meetups and what went wrong. So I think he has a lot on his shoulders right now.
Probably quite a bit of influence there too. I mean, you have Alu, obviously the older guy around, and then you have all of these new players. I guess it only makes sense for one of them having to have risen up into that moment.
Well, it's really important to take ownership, right? Especially if you are the in-game leader, because you want people to respect you when you're calling the shots. I think, you look at, I was looking at like the stat lines and stuff. You mentioned the Liquid one. When you look at Stewie coming into this team, I think he does a similar thing. He takes ownership of situations. He's always seemed to me like a very vocal guy. And when he's come into the team so far, sure, they've only got 12 maps on record, but he looks like he's elevated the play of everybody else. Everybody else's stat lines look a little bit higher than they were when Taco was on the team. Sure, it's a lot more maps played, but it's good signs early. And I remember Yanko I was talking to him when he was on MIBR, and Stewie was there. Yanko said Stewie is a phenomenal player, and he contributes so much more than just kills in the server.
I mean, we watched them play actually at the London Major, and we gave him so much praise for his communication and how he dictated everything that MIBR was doing at that last major. So he has so much impact even outside of his style.
I mean, so looking at Liquid, you might have said that this was the missing piece of the puzzle, albeit we haven't really seen them dive too deep here into the major. But is Stewie that one cornerstone they were missing all of last year?
So if you look at Liquid's run, they had Steel, they changed Steel for Taco, they had JDM, they replaced him as well. It's like gradual steps, but Stewie doesn't feel like a gradual step. Stewie feels like a leap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because what he can actually contribute to the team, I think, is immense. It just hasn't been fully realized just yet.
And I guess even more than that, what he's capable of in the server. This is a guy that, at least from working with him and being in close proximity with him, I know that he's able and more than willing sometimes to step up and say, hey, you know what? This isn't working. I'm going to take control of the situation as well and kind of put it down there as to what he feels needs to happen. There are a lot of players that can become very silent in these crucial situations.
Yeah, and he even will pick up the secondary op. He gets very aggressive. So he is the definition, in my eyes, of an impact player.
Impact or not, the impact is now that these players stomping their way up the stairs. It does look like it's time to get them seated and situated, so we're going to do just that. Let's go ahead and introduce our next quarterfinalist in ENCE versus Team Liquid.
With an impressive year under their belts, this North American roster can handle anything that is thrown at them. With the versatility and precision that can best any opponent, these players have risen to be global leaders in Counter-Strike. Welcome to the stage, Team Liquid! In this arena, victory does not come easily. With a dominant run through the world rankings, these Finnish warriors will have to rely on one another as they combat their way through the playoffs and towards the Intel Extreme Masters Trophy. Taking to the field of Counter-Strike, it's ENCE Esports.
ENCE versus Team Liquid now set to put itself into gear, and well, who's going to be driving this car is the real question on everyone's mind. We do know there's some ENCE fans that did drive all the way down here, but in the server is where it matters.
There's them and Natu as probably the only positive players, or fans for the likes of ENCE here, right? Because they're going up against it. The way that I want to talk about Liquid is how we talked about FaZe on their CT sides, right? On this map of Mirage, twist over towards B, Naf playing catwalk, Nitro swinging around window, Elise locking down connector, and Stewie anchoring A. That's such a wall, right? That's so scary.
There's nowhere to go.
Scary.
There's nowhere to go.
Where are you going?
When you watch their T side too, I went over and watched them play Na'Vi. Their T side is so diverse. They started with these excellent mid controls where they have slightly different variations than what most teams are doing. They molly connector, but then they'll dump a nade right on top of that Molotov. Then they have sight hits, multiple site hits for both bomb sites. They are a very deep team on Mirage.
It sounds like we're talking about a mixture of like absolute skill and, well-versed strategy, and Adren behind them. Adren being the coach, he's played for Liquid previously in the past, and he was a very strategic in-game leader.
Now, with that being said, I mean, all it takes is one punch to the face, and you can cower at this crowd and just crumble.
You want to talk about power? How about using the hashtag GameFuelPowerPlays to tell us what plays that you at home want us to break down? You know what? Might as well slide in a cheeky hashtag IEM while you're in there. You never know what could pop up here on the ticker below the screen, and it could, in fact, be your tweets or wherever you post in social media.
One question I was always having when I heard about Stewie potentially joining this Liquid roster was, is there a tilt factor? And I think, this could be something on display when the stage is, amplifying every decision, amplifying every little, round or mistake that is made. So if there is ever going to be a case to see cracks, this could be it, Trace.
Now, you want to talk about seeing cracks, and there was a definite crack sort of made with Zeus's departure outside of Liquid. And for this little bit of time that we have left, one thing that we haven't really touched on is the direction outside of the game. We haven't talked about the coaching. We do know they brought in Adren. Talk to me about what sort of impact that could have, Sean.
Well, Zeus is more of a leader. He's the one that, would dictate how the team operates on a day-to-day. I'm sure he also had a lot of say in weird strategic implementation in important matches. But Adren is that strategic mastermind. He's going to change an entire game plan.
Well, changing the game plan is something they're going to have to look at here. Perhaps things do get a little spicy. And let me just ask you right now where your money is, Chad.
Look, I think that Liquid are the clear favorite here. ENCE are going to have to pull off an absolutely gargantuan performance to get into this. Sergey needs to step on up. He needs to return to that form he had in the minors. You need Alu to go when he was, playing with NIP and being a fantastic AWPer. Everybody needs to contribute right now.
Everyone will. Sean, you contribute your thought?
Yeah, Liquid is the best North American team I've ever seen assembled. I have to have them taking this 2-0.
And that's spicy considering you were on a few yourself. Either way, it's going to be Mirage, and that's where we're starting it here in the Spodek. I need you to make a little bit of noise for the commentators. And what is the next quarterfinal? ENCE Esports versus Team Liquid. We've got Jason O'Toole and Vince Hill to deliver it to you.
Yes, thank you, Trace. The best team ever assembled in North America takes the stage here in the Spodek Arena in front of this crowd, taking on ENCE, the hope of Finland. We'll see if they can get it done. It would have to be a massive upset, and they're starting on the T side here on Mirage.
It looks like they're going to be posturing for a pretty fast play as well. Already throwing over the grenade, going to try and get things started hot and heavy. Twist going to be called upon. He has to just back away. They do have the stack on top of the site, though. They have to be very careful of. Ariel's gone in for one, and here we go. Nitro in play, but he whiffed everything, leaving Sergey to clean up the rest. Nitro and Leash both go sprawling down, and Stewie 2K is the last man standing.
That's rough. Liquid had the perfect call. They had 4 players at that B bomb site very quickly. A 5th arrives fast as well. They just missed everything. Unusual to see that at Team Liquid, but you have to admire the call, the smart call from ENCE. Just go for a very basic pistol round. First time for a lot of these players on the stage. Take the decision-making out of their hands. Don't let them feel the nerves. Just group up and hit that B bomb site, and it's a solid win. Sergey, so quiet. A lot of eyes on him coming into this major. Hands down the superstar for this team. 3 kills in the pistol round. Hopefully that keeps him awake for the rest of this half. They're going to need him.
They certainly are. We saw earlier the power of pistols from Flamey, getting 2 aces in a row. Pretty much unheard of, especially in a major. But Nitro had the round in his hand, and they just slipped out. Now it's going to slow it down significantly. A couple players over on the mid side, going to be Ariel and X7, but the rest of the T's just factoring outside of Ramp and Palace. They have control of the bomb, but they're not going to pull the trigger just yet, Jason, because they realize that upgraded pistols can be a nightmare when you run into them.
And you just have to assume this buy comes out, so it is kind of a situation where you poke and prod just a bit, see what you're facing against, see this scout in towards CT spawn if Alicia's going to give that up. Plenty of smokes, plenty of nades utilized on this A bomb site, simulating a full set piece. But it's mid that's going to have the pressure applied. Alu and Ariel starting to work their way forward. Another follow-up smoke. Nobody from Liquid rotated on that fake, on that initial salvo of smokes and flashbangs. Can Liquid read this is coming? It looks like it's forming up to be a mid to B split.
Time dwindling away. No early casualties either. This starting to play maybe into the hands of Liquid somewhat. Solid smoke thrown down. Going to stall the push through an app side, but it's going to be mainly through Catwalk. This is where the Deagles, though, can be such a nuisance, and ENCE deciding once again to turn it up. They're going to be going through Connector. This is so risky. 18 seconds to go, and Liquid going to have to try and hold the line. It's Stewie2K alongside CT Boxes, which will be Elise trying to hold this one, but the bomb has been planted, and Stewie2K has been found and fragged. The danger has somewhat been alleviated, but that was so close. Elise going to try and do as much damage as physically possible. Has already landed the one scout headshot, and he's hungry for more. But ENCE in position to shut this down. It's unlikely Liquid get anything else done.
Yeah, they're just going to back away. Well done. Nice adjustment for ENCE when they stalled out at that B bomb site. It will be the second round for the Finnish team. Taking Catwalk, encountering resistance, and coming back towards the A bomb site. Because they had secured mid and Catwalk, they didn't actually have to take the bomb site, which might have been the saving grace. Stewie and Elige could have had a decent crossfire set up with the Deagle and Scout. But planning in front of the boxes neutralizes those positions. Liquid's going to have very little to fight with in this round, but still, with 2 Deagles and a Scout, there is some danger.
Yeah, I do feel that previous round for Liquid is going to definitely give them a bit of confidence too, because if just a couple of kills had gone their way at the end, that could have been all for ENCE.
Yeah, that could have been very, very dangerous. I mean, there was, again, a pretty decent read as well for Liquid, realizing the time was coming out. That was a long path. They still had to make it into the bomb site with 2 players coming in market. They could have been whittled down and just stalled out. Hey, bomb site was really their best option, and it's good of them to have seized that so quickly. Only 2 kills for Team Liquid in these opening 2 rounds, and both of them on Elige. That's Scout headshot and one in the pistol, I believe. Not a whole lot of damage done to ENCE whatsoever. Do have a technical pause initiated by ENCE. And you can hear the crowd chanting for ENCE. They've become a fan favorite for a long time. It's been building. You could see it in the online community at tournaments. That's just a team that a lot of people are starting to really enjoy rooting for.
Oh, absolutely, and you know, human nature dictates that you typically root for the underdog, and there's no doubting that ENCE are the underdog coming through into this game. Liquid, as Sean said, one of the best, if not the best, NA squad that's ever been assembled. Currently ranked 2nd in the world, had a win against Astralis at the iBuyPower Masters Finals. So these guys have been hot. Coming into the group stage too, they breezed through 3-0, looked very good indeed. So I completely understand why a lot of people are getting behind ENCE. A very likable team.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're just kind of fun, and obviously everyone likes rooting for an underdog, and I don't think they're going to remain underdogs for a while, so you're just hoping you convert those fans into long-time ones. Still a timeout here, as you can see the players just chilling. This Team Liquid team, important to note, I mean, remember, because they had such an easy group stage or legend stage, they've had a lot of time off. They've had about 5 days off while ENCE was grinding back from 0-2 and playing in all those series and getting all that experience. Now, the Team Liquid team doesn't necessarily need to have those games to kind of learn anything new about their teams so much, but it's just a long time to be sitting in one place doing not much of anything. I mean, obviously going over demos, practicing, but it's a completely different feel to actually playing in official games.
Sure, absolutely. And as you say, I mean, they obviously could have watched ENCE's games, but you never fully know what to expect, especially when the playoffs come around, right? Like we've constantly said this in the major, it's a whole different ball game. You can't necessarily come in with stats and percentages and say, oh, well, this team normally does this, and therefore it's going to play out in the major. Nah, this is completely different altogether. So the playoffs, as I said before, with ENCE, Alu's the only player that's really been in this sort of territory before. The rest of the players pretty inexperienced. Some of them very low, of course. Sergey, the hot young talent for Finland.
Right, and as I mentioned in the pistol round, he had a very quiet legend stage. A lot, you know, he's had some phenomenal tournaments. Obviously, I believe he was the MVP of that star ladder that they had won previously. But I mean, he kind of under the pressure of just the group stage was hurting a little bit. Good news. Freeze time coming to an end. The timeout is over. They've fixed all the issues. We're going to get back into the action. It's still Team Liquid with just the 2 Deagles from the previous round. They were able to save the 1 Scout on Elige. And I lied to everyone. I apologize. We're back into a timeout.
Well, to be fair, we were ticking down. And then we just got
juked.
Debated pretty hard. Feels bad. We can't really break down much of what's happened in this game either. We're only getting into round 3, as you say, just a couple kills for Liquid.
What'd you think of the Na'Vi game, Vince?
I think Na'Vi looks strong, but I've got to say FaZe were very disappointing.
Okay.
Where would you come down with that? Would you agree?
I saw some cool things out of FaZe. I just think their adjustments they're going to have to make are more of a long-term project. So I really liked what I saw on the T side of Inferno, obviously. But yeah, another head-scratcher for a collapse on Inferno. That map certainly has got to be starting to cause them issues just mentally. You would imagine after Boston, now this loss to get eliminated here in Katowice. Tough times, but with all the experience on that team, you'll expect that they'll be able to figure it out.
Oh, without tempting fate.
I'm not going to do it again.
I'll take it upon myself. It looks like we're ready to get back into this, ladies and gentlemen. Round 3. And Liquid with a Scout, Desert Eagle, and a HE to try and play with. Oh, they lined up. The damage is significant through mid. Aerial and Alu get wrecked.
That's combined with an HE grenade, so that is well done from Team Liquid. Great early damage. They have a real chance here, even with only 2 players with armor. Elige now down below half HP with that Scout, but he can be passive and just wait for someone to peek into it. That is going to put ENCE on notice. Look at how cautiously they're playing, passively controlling mid from behind the boxes as Alu. Alexi is up there as well, so is Aerial. And Twist is going to get aggressive in the halls. Where's that peek? Not going to take the fight as Twist tucks himself into a corner, chills on the couch. He'll have a fast flank, though, if they commit to the A-bomb site. I think the rough thing right now for Team Liquid is they don't have anyone actually in the A-bomb site. If these players do not move or play aggressive, they're going to get blocked off by the smokes and not be able to have an impact.
Sure, the same could be said for Elige. He's on the outskirts of the CT boxes with his Scout. Only 36 health to his name, and here come the blockade of smokes. The set play commences. Flashbangs alongside it. You can see from Elige's point of view, he can't really do anything about this. And Liquid gonna have to wait until the smoke's clear, in which case ENCE will have solid crossfires established and the round should be starved out. This time bomb will get planted with about 30 seconds left. Nitro has found Alu, who was weakened from the first encounter, the first skirmish. And hold on a second, Stewie2K has came in with one of his own. Suddenly this is getting into the realms of possibility and ENCE are in trouble.
Yeah, this is very doable. Good kill from X7, but he's got to hold on longer. Here's the creep into the bomb site. It's Stewie cannot finish off that kill. The nade and the Eagle does it, though, and it's just Aerial. 1 versus 3 on the A-ramp. Diffusing the bomb, and Naf is going to end it. He's going to cover his teammates, and Nitro's going to stick the defuse. A full 10 seconds, but it doesn't matter. A turnaround for Team Liquid, starting with early damage.
A Scout and a Desert Eagle. That's pretty much all that Liquid had, and now they can pick up 3 AK-47s. They can move into the Augs. Oh dear, ENCE, this is looking poor. After getting the first couple rounds, you thought, okay, that's going to steady the nerves, but this is going to apply the pressure once again.
Really nicely done from Team Liquid there. Obviously, the early damage helps, and that is going to be the first obstacle for ENCE. This is where we're going to see how do they handle the pressure, because that is, in this kind of an environment, as a player who's never been here before, that is going to make your stomach just sink. That is going to make you feel really nervous and really disappointed in yourselves. You're not able to move that forward, but they have a timing on this A-bomb site. Liquid going for mid control on the CT side, and the A site is now open. They're going to have to recover, and Alu's got that first pick. And up in his hands, I don't know if they expected it. Naf goes down.
Yeah, and Liquid have been forced back again. They're going to be looking for another retake. Here comes the spray. Aerial's going to get the better of Twists. And with Twist's death, the round may very well follow. Bomb's been planted, couple kills traded, but still in favor of ENCE. Oh no, Stewie2Ks came in with 3 in quick succession. Sergey's down to 2, make it 0, and Act7 has to try and clutch. It's a similar position that Nafly got the 1 dig in the round prior. The spray can't come in quick enough. And Stewie2K with a 4K is going to get it done for Liquid.
And he looks so casual. He's taking up the gum chewing as well. But this is what Stewie brings to the table for this Liquid team. He is someone who can just turn the tides of a round, turn the tides of a situation. And this is so beautiful. Coming through the smoke as well. No one from ENCE is expecting getting 3 fast kills. Give them the opportunity, 4 total in the round. And that's a huge impact for Stewie on stage for Liquid.
Another one that ENCE will feel gutted they let slip through their fingers. It was theirs. A retake completely stacked against Liquid, but this is one of the reasons why they are regarded as the second best team in the world. Some would even say they edge Astralis, but they're definitely up there in the debate. And now ENCE on the back foot in a position where they're about $3,000 or just below in a couple of their players. Will they go for the force? I'm kind of hoping it's more of a half buy.
Yeah, you want, if you're, again, I mean, I'm going to keep harping on this kind of the young and inexperienced nature of the lineup in this kind of an environment. I mean, they took a timeout just now, which I think is smart as well. You're going to calm them down. That's 2 rounds that were really, really disastrous for morale. They turn around against just a Scout and a couple Deagles. Now you have a round where you're up, what, 5-on-2, and you end up losing that in a retake scenario. So yeah, get the guys to calm down, tell them to brush it off, and you want to make sure early on in this game, as many times as they possibly can, you get those full buys out with the AKs and utility. Give them the best chances to build some momentum. And forget about the stakes of this match.
Edward said something very interesting for the RV game, that when he's playing, the only thing he focuses on is the screen. And I feel like ENCE are going to have to take a note out of that book here. Focus on the prize at hand.
Edward's been competing in this game on the biggest tournaments for, you know, over a decade, so that's a learned skill, not necessarily automatically acquired by everyone.
Well, the Finns known for their iron resolve. We'll have to see if that ends up passing the test. So far, so good for Liquid, bouncing back after a 2-0 deficit, but there's not a great deal for them to counteract against in this round. Just a few upgraded pistols and a smoke in play. ENCE have mid-control, but only half the battle. Stewie 2K, of course. Who else is going to play aggressive and try and take the fight to the oncoming Ts? I mean, Liquid really have everything locked down here. They don't need to make a great deal of movement, but now that Nitro's been found, that's going to put a certain spanner in the works. The bomb has been spotted by Stewie, though, and this is going to be very difficult for ENCE to get their hands back on, especially with that smoke in their eyes. It's going to be a massacre.
Yeah, X7, that's about all you can do is try and beat the smoke. Alexi now knows he fell. Spam comes through, doesn't connect. Elige able to find one in the bomb site. Finally, he goes down. 9 seconds left. Can they actually make it to the site? They're getting great kills, though. This is huge. Even if they can't get this plant in time, which I think they will just have it. No, he missed it. He got into the site, and now they have to live. There's no way for them to go down. They need to salvage those weapons towards CT spawn. Alexi's got Nog, but that's great damage to the Liquid economy. You can have a buy here still. Alu cannot pick up much, but Alexi with that salvaged AUG can have a solid buy, and AK is across the board as well. It's Alu who's going to be put on the back feet. Taking money away. But it's still 3-2 for Liquid as they take the lead.
Yeah, there's certainly some positives, though, in that round prior. As you say, taking some damage away. Stewie on $150, 600 for NAF. ENCE in with a force. It's only going to be a Desert Eagle for Alu, though. Aggression seems to be the way forward for the Finns, and Nafly has been struck down by X7's AK. And with his death, the bomb site will follow. Now, does Aerial decide to go aggressively here? They still have plenty of nades to play with, but so do Liquid. And we've already seen that Stewie 2K can come in, all guns blazing, and retake this site. Bomb ticking away, the CT's now starting to move in, flashbang in, Stewie 2K gets one, but gets instantly counteracted. But X7's also fallen, so it's an even 3-on-3. A smoke and a flashbang, the nades definitely favoring the Finns alongside the positioning. This should be their round, but we've been here a few times before. Bomb planted out for them to train for the go against. Alexi B and Sergey, how's this happening? Alu's gonna go down finally. Do they have enough time?
Yes, he's got a kid. He's gonna be able to grab it. Elige finishing it off. 2 kills for him, 2 for Twist, and another stellar retake for Team Liquid. But if you're ENCE, some of the positives you're going to take out of these first 6 rounds is going to be, we're getting into this site, we're getting the bomb planted, and if we clean up these post-plant situations, we're going to win one of these eventually, you'd at least hope. Nice job from Team Liquid, 4-2 now. AK's again coming out for ENCE, still no AWP for Alu. The desk talked about all the different looks Team Liquid is going to give you. We'll see if they change it up here. Nitro is going to be in towards window, AWP. You're not going to have a free plant in that bomb site all the time, or a retake. You're going to have to battle for it. And Nitro waiting for the play through underpass.
Decides to back away just as the Finns are getting into position. X7 and Alexi B looking to maybe make a move in connector. A-site has yielded them a bunch of bomb plants, even though they have conceded the round, so they'll feel pretty good about this side of the map, but Nitro wasn't too far off spotting on the connector. They're now making a move into jungle. Liquid have no idea what's about to happen, and Stewie 2K's been caught.
What an awkward timing, and what courage to just walk up connector. Nitro's in a tough spot. He knows they can peek him close. There's the flashbang. X7 doesn't turn the corner. Spares Nitro's life for the moment, but he's blocked off from helping his teammate. Nitro cannot go through that smoke. He knows they're close. There's the peek from Sergey. Elige has that. 2 young stars going head-to-head, and Elige cannot build upon it.
Are we going to have deja vu once again, though? ENCE post-plant with the player advantage, positional advantage, going to get traded out evenly. So ENCE still have the player in form, and Alu's now starting to make a move around Kitchen. If he can wrap around CT, we haven't really seen this from the T so far, but they pretty much vacated the bomb site at this stage. It's just Aerial by himself in ramp, and he's very low on 12. So Alu's going to get a move on. You can hear the footsteps to his left-hand side. This should be it. This should be the round-winning play. Double spray down. And ENCE are going to pick up a third.
And now he's got his up as well. A great flank from Alu. Liquid running down the clock on the retake, and it gives Alu the time for that. And that was bound to happen at some point. As I just mentioned, if you're ENCE, you're loving the fact that you're at least getting into this bomb site. And it just comes down to timing as well. Nitro actually peeked towards Connector, just barely missed it, unlucky by about 1 second to spot those players in Connector, and Stewie never had any idea.
So now you can really see where those previous rounds that went very close are going to sting for Liquid. They can't afford to bounce back with a full rifle round. They're going to have to dip down to half-buy territory. And whereas the Deagles were rattling heads earlier, no more. The Legion twists have been found and fragged. Now ENCE with a massive chasm in their favor. Going to play it slow and steady. There's no reason to run into these pistols. They've already been on the receiving end of a battering from the Desert Eagles.
Just straight mid-control. Play it slow from here. They haven't... It's not the harshest reset of Liquid's economy. They're going to be able to buy in the next round. Everyone's sitting over 2,000. Nitro, I think he might even be able to have the AWP if he wants to give up some utility. But you have to say, coming into this, obviously the pistol round helps, but pretty impressive from ENCE. I think answering some of the questions about their nerves, about how they'll be able to play, and so far the early return being able to go blow for Team Liquid with Team Liquid early on. A great chance to get up to 4-4. I don't think you could start this game out better if you're ENCE.
Yeah, many people thought Liquid would bulldozer over them. Definitely has not been the case. However, time is starting to dwindle away. Stewie 2K flashed out with a Desert Eagle in hand. How many players can he find? Just the one. Didn't really have a chance to do any more. A solid avenge kill came in from X7. And Nitro and a lonely CZ will look for some exit frags, but this round is done.
Obviously can't salvage that AK-47 on Sergey, but yes, just wants to find one of the rifles on ENCE on their escape so he can pass it over. Still a low economy situation for Liquid.
Yeah, an AK would be fantastic from his perspective, but it just doesn't look like it's going to bear any fruit. May find a player around ladder room. Going to be jumping across. It's going to be aerial instead. Oh, find him, but it's not going to be an AK that he can pick up. At least does chip away some of the economy in his way out, though.
Yeah, I would have loved to have had that, but the kill is enough for the moment. All tied up 4-4. Here come the Augs again. Here come the high fives. And Liquid, they would love to start just go on a tear here. They're going to take a timeout. They know they want to set themselves up. Look at the 4 rounds that they win. That is wild. 3 of them are defuses. 1 of them was a 2-on-2 they end up winning as the time runs out. They have not actually had a whole lot of easy round wins. ENCE applying a lot of pressure early on, and this is where they say we want to make our stand, plant your feet in the ground, and start to run up your own score line on this defensive half of Mirage.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, 3 defuses, and in 3 of those rounds, they only kept 2 players alive. So they're really just about on that threshold of being able to keep their economy going forward. So in this round, no defuse kits, a FAMAS for Stewie, only 1 Molotov in his hands. So they've got enough firepower to make a go of this, but make no mistake, they are on the brink of a collapse again. ENCE are in very good shape.
Here we go, Alu has control of mid. He's moving that catwalk very, very fast, and Elige is going to be there, but so is Nitro. That's all the way back from Ticket Booth. No real chance for Alu, no nades to support that kind of a push. Smokes come up late. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication or mistiming on those. Nitro waiting. There is a deep smoke for ENCE so they can make their way over towards mountain boxes. Alexi's going to lead the way, clearing the close angles. Stewie staring up. The op on the T side, X7 is in mid as well. That's going to be no help during this hit, during this attack of the A bomb site, but ENCE is slow playing it for the moment.
They're playing a bit demure this time, a bit more shy and reserved. ENCE knowing just how important this round is, especially after losing Alu in such a somewhat of a free way. No smoke onto connector. Nitro made the most of it. Oh, X7, perfect crosshair placement. What a shot onto Nitro. Evens up the odds, applies the pressure now onto A. Once again, Stewie 2K with his back to the oncoming T's, but with X7's death, it does make it a lot more likely that Liquid can hold the line. Flash is being expertly driven into the site. Nafly on the wrong side of the smoke, but it is going to clear momentarily. And ENCE know it. They're going to have to get into position. Here comes Stewie, able to get one, nearly a second. Nafly comes out worse around that trade. Oh, Aerial triples up. This now can possibly go the way of ENCE, and it has. Out of nowhere, Aerial gets a triple.
He turns that round in stunning fashion because they were stuck. They had nowhere to go. Their smokes were clearing as well. And I guess the Finns live up to their reputation of just ice in the veins. I didn't think X7 was going to have an impact, and Nitro goes for a jump peek for information, just gets punished. This is great from Aerial. Missed opportunity for Naf, which you don't see in Liquid. Rare, they seem tentative to take some of those fights inside of the site. That's not the Liquid we know. And ENCE is taking advantage of it now, a 5-4 lead for the underdogs.
The economy shatters, as does Elige's head. Sergey, with his AK-47, puts it to good use. Stewie sees a plethora of oncoming Ts, and he will find the same fate. This round certainly looking a whole lot easier for the Finns, but Nitro, perched up on Tollbooth, could strike. No, Alexi B's going to shut him down. This is much more like it from ENCE.
And now they're going to get money building up behind this. And now they're going to get the crowd building up behind them. They've been waiting for a moment to cheer for ENCE, and a 6-4 lead has gotten them there. But so much cash behind ENCE. Liquid is going to have to burn so many wins, so much money. They're going to have to win 2 or 3 rounds in a row before this will kind of disappear. That'll take them really, really far, really deep into this half.
And credit to ENCE too. After losing all those close rounds that went the way of Liquid, you thought, okay, well, this is where the collapse starts. This is where Liquid start to put some serious road between them and their adversaries, but really hasn't been the case. Elige's gonna get flashed out, gonna have to pull back after getting a bit of an aggressive position in mid.
Ooh, Nitro stuck. I think Alexi, I don't know if he actually spotted him, might just be going for a spray, and he's gonna get hit in the face with that grenade, and it drops at his feet. You do hate to see that. Another deep smoke being put out by Liquid at the base of connector. It's Elige waiting behind it. Alexi jumping is going to get taken down. Not expecting Elige to be in there as well, who might have to fight his way out of connector, and he's not going to win it. He does dink Aerial at the last second. That opens up Catwalk for the moment, but Naf is here to shut it down. This time, ENCE getting spread a little bit thin. No one to support Aerial as he pushes his way up Catwalk.
Aerial is in some fine entry fragging form. He's finding kills every single round, and similar to how the last round started with Nitro putting things up, this time ENCE can't quite avenge quick enough.
This is a B play, no doubt. Naf will be able to spin on Catwalk and help Twist out if it's needed. Molotov goes past him. Are they going to expect this off angle? There's the smoke. Twist can peek a little wider the blind, but he still sprays him down. A tough angle for them to deal with in a second. Sergey wanted the backstab, and he doesn't get any opportunity for it. Liquid close the gap to 1.
Yeah, only losing Elige in the process going to do the world of good towards their economy too. They can now get a full dosage of grenades, plenty of kits. Twist holds on for dear life. I think he may have just seen the barrel before the flashbang fully detonated in his eyes, but he could definitely hear the footsteps anyway through the smoke. But well held. And still have a round lead and a very healthy buy of their own.
Ooh, Alu in front of this. This could actually really hurt Twist, but he predicts it. Drops a nade right at his feet. The jump spotting is going to be where he might have his chance, and the smoke plumes, he gives away his play. Oh, and right through the smoke, pushing up. That doesn't happen every day, but Twist is going to love it. So is Liquid, a 5-on-4.
X7's tilted right now. He's done. Alu's also been tagged up from Twist. I believe it was a grenade that was tossed in B-App, so A rough start for the Finnish squad. Alexi B, though, going to be looking to try and make something happen. He could maybe spray through this smoke of his own. There's the first. They may not expect a double up, though. Elige got a kill from here in the rounds previously. That may give ENCE pause for thought. And there's Alexi B. He is going to find Elige. They turn the advantage in their favor.
Yeah, he's not caught unawares as well. I think the plan there, Nitro and Elige just saying, surely you won't expect it twice. Alexi saw Naf running by. Doesn't want to make the play, jumps over the spot. His job is to control window room, make sure no one can come through that hole to rotate over to help Stewie. Close towards a ramp. There's not going to be anyone there, but he's always got to be worried about it. You can see him checking. 2 different angles, and it all comes down to timing in this position. Again, Stewie with an opportunity to change this round. There's the play towards the boxes, but he's going to hold strong. Another double kill for Stewie. He is clinging to this A-bomb site for dear life, and he's delivering for Liquid. Another as he pops back up.
Such is the danger of trying to move onto a site with just 15 seconds and not many grenades. There's always going to be one angle that goes unchecked, and Stewie will pounce. 6 apiece. Now ENCE cannot afford to rebuy. So the pendulum of this half now goes back in Liquid's favor.
For the moment, we've seen ENCE is still so deadly, and obviously 6, they're going to be so happy with that on their T side. If they can get just one more, that would turn this into a phenomenal half for an opening on a stage and for the stakes of this quality. Stewie's been so good over at the A-bomb site when he's inside. And equally, ENCE has done a great job of gaining control and finding kills in connector. Nitro's gonna be there again, and another one for Alexi. He's loving this fight. Nitro gets caught just a little bit slow, and do they choose to come through that smoke to help him out? Nowhere for Elige again. All on Stewie. He needs more, he knows one's above him, and he adjusts perfectly. Continues the spray, and he's somehow still alive. Naf bails him out, but again, Stewie is just the rock on this side of the map.
Alexi did get rewarded with an AWP, but unfortunately there was 2 or 3 smokes stacked in his eyes on connector. So never got a chance to use it. Look to see if he can ripple with some more kills and try and bring down that economy into the next round. As you say, I mean, ENCE is still in very good shape for this half.
I think the really difficult part that Liquid's going to have to deal with now is if you go back to the gun rounds, they lost a round by just 2 players walking up with no sign they were coming and being able to get a free kill onto Stewie, who had no clue it was coming. So they've won a round that way, and they've also been able to pick people off. So Liquid puts players in connector to kind of guard against that kind of a play, and then they lose those players, you know, 3 rounds in a row. So ENCE has a pretty good advantage in terms of that connector and mid control. We'll see if they can use it. Alexi's just going to save this AWP for Alu in the next round, who will drop him an AK-47 in return, and he's got plenty of money for armor and the nades behind it. But Liquid once again regain the lead.
They certainly do, only losing 2 players in the process from that pistol play. Alexi successfully holds on to the AWP, didn't really want to send any more players into death, and Stewie, he's been on some fine form here. 15 kills with over 110 ADR to his name. Can't argue with that. Has been a linchpin on the A side of the map, which has been heavily pressured. I mean, ENCE have typically been going for these mid-A hits over and over again.
It's one of the great luxuries that this team has. I mean, you have Stewie at 15 kills, but you have Elige, Naf, and Twist who can all step up and carry this team through a half at any point. Just today, it happens to be Stewie who's the one delivering. Even Nitro being able to fill that role at times. Liquid talked about Stewie coming in. They knew they'd have to make some changes. Remember, Twist used to be their A-bomb site anchor. They've given up that for Stewie, and it's looking good in this match. Twist having a couple nice rounds over at the B-bomb site as well.
Yeah, the impact that Twist has had has been significant. I mean, obviously his stats don't look great, but that is the life of a B-site player, especially when you're not getting pushed that often. He's had a couple of shots through smokes and flashbangs that completely stopped B hits. But ENCE early on, picking shrapnel out of their teeth. They've taken a lot of nade damage, just chipped away. Really going to play into the Orgs on the side of Liquid now. Playing more forward positions too, not hanging back on the CT boxes. ENCE do have some nades to play with, but they're actually going to be going out dry. Just seeing if Alu can get a pick before they start to make a move in. Solid timing on that smoke, but actually will afford ENCE the luxury of moving on to Tetris.
I think they're fine with that because Liquid they're not playing with an AWP. They'll let him get close. There go all the utility into the site. Good opening kill from Stewie, but he's so blind. Can't trade that one off. Naf, still a job to do. I don't know if Sergey's going to swing wide, but they need to clear this angle out. He knows one's there, looking for Alu, looking for anyone. Now going to start creeping forward. And Naf can stop this plant. He can ruin all of this, and he is. He's going to be able to do it. Now they have to push forward, try and find a way, and they have one of their players in mid. This is going to be so difficult for ENCE.
12 seconds left. Naf caught with a grenade out. Caught napping. And now they can retrieve the bomb. Both players on the CT side. 5 seconds to go. They're going to go for the plant. There's no one that can stop them. It's all about how much damage can Liquid inflict on the approach back in. Neither team has any grenades other than a flashbang to the hands of Nitro. He's going to toss it up and over and look to try and move behind. It does land on Sergey, who's on Tetris, but that's only half the battle. The rest is going to come down to Twist. We were talking about how well he was playing earlier on B. Now it's going to have to be the opposite side of the map, and everything is stacked against him. Only 48 health left, has a kit but no smokes, and the positions for ENCE are so strong. This round's surely going to go the way of the Finnish team.
Just another great round. Getting into that 8 bomb site. Naf wanted to use that Molotov to slow down any Palace play, and X7's gonna get the final. A couple of these players on Team Liquid are so poor, I don't know what they'll be able to bring to fight with just upgraded pistols. ENCE really exploiting this A bomb site, and they've attacked it in a couple different ways, and Liquid have not been able to have the right reads every single time. Naf almost able to turn that round, but not to be. All tied up 7-7. Who's going to take the lead into the second half? Stewie in the window. He's got an AWP. He gives up the armor. He gives up the nades. He gives up the kit just to have this weapon. Proficient with it as well.
In terms of the purchase, it definitely favors ENCE. Lack of weaponry, lack of grenades, only the one kit. Glass cannon.
The 2 pistols for Liquid are actually guarding this A bomb site, which is interesting. Twist has an AUG and he's over towards B, which has not gotten a lot of attention throughout this half. So it is intriguing to me that Liquid has decided to put the 2 pistols at the bomb site that's gotten more attention. Maybe they thought ENCE was going to try and fake them out by luring them into that sense that they've exploited A so they can go to B, but again, it's just going to fall into another A hit. Contact as well up this A ramp, letting Alu lead the way.
The A play about to be evoked from ENCE. With 45 seconds left, more than enough time to get up close and personal. Sergey finds a leash, had to play aggressively, and Nitro. A pivot point for maybe a retake has been found, and it's looking great for ENCE to get through off this first half in the lead. Stewie 2K, Naf, and Twists may have a few things to say about that. And no, Stewie 2K has been silenced. Alu, his opposite number with the AWP, is going to go massive with another kill. And if they shoulder peek him, he'll get more. Oh, they just peek out behind the flashbang. Naf in a 1-on-5 can only get 1. And ENCE will be leading at halftime.
A stunning show from ENCE. They answered a lot of questions. The nerves don't seem to be too bad for the Finns. Even responding. An early obstacle of losing 4 in a row, and ENCE take a lead into the second half. We're going to see how that goes when we return from the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to IEM Katowice's second half of the second quarterfinal. ENCE taking on Team Liquid, and they take an 8-7 lead into their defensive side. That was a stunning performance in the first half, surprising a lot of people with their poise on a big stage, most of them for the very first time. They have put tournament favorites Team Liquid in a hole that is going to be tough to dig out of, but they've got to start on this pistol round. Stewie bailed them out so much in the first half. Someone from Liquid has got to step up next to him.
So many clutches in that first half as well. Could be a monster of a half for ENCE, but of course they've got to hold on. And Liquid going to go aggressive through mid. It was ENCE going on to A. They're going to decide to go A through connector, but they're wrapping around into window already. Now Alexi B is going to see a couple of players, going to smoke himself into safety. He needed Aerial to help him out. Now he's all alone. Nitro is thinned out the herd. He's picked up 3. Somehow with the Glock, and Liquid in solid position to pick this second pistol up now.
That pistol round is so sick. They get up connector, and they just have players watching every angle while their teammates move forward. They had all peaks covered. Nitro with some great shots. Elysian Naf to finish it off. 8-8, we're all tied up again. This has been neck and neck the whole way through. Nitro, you can see, he's the one covering that player along the wall, running up, and then eliminates. Burst fire over the top, a beautiful switch.
Yeah, that was all about the importance. You can see Alexi B smoked himself out. Really needed Aerial, I think it was, in triple box, to at least get 1 kill, to try and stall the push. Didn't happen. Liquid, 8-8, have a huge advantage in terms of firepower. They're not messing around. 5 assault rifles, no SMGs to be found here.
Perhaps preparing themselves for the next round. Perhaps believing it's going to be investment of armor and scouts and deagles and wanted to use the range, but not going to encounter any of that. Although just now Alicia's going to spot 3-4. He sees everyone. He's brought down to 5. He gets away. Now Bomb is on the ground at that position. Small mistake from Team Liquid that shouldn't be too difficult to recover from, but more damage is being done. But somehow, even Nitro survives the barrage. And Liquid holds on.
Yeah, a bit of a sloppy round from Liquid, but they're going to get away with it purely off the basis. ENCE had nothing invested. Does afford them a very healthy buy in this round, though. 3 Orcs, AWP, and an M4A1S. Aerial really seems to love this gun. He's one of the last surviving players.
Yeah, he's really holding on to it, isn't he? Yeah. Him and Forrest.
He's had some big plays on like Dust 2 with the gun, to be fair to him. But most players would have moved on for the extra 10 bullets for the A4 of the Orc.
I'm sure if we wanted to get too critical, we could probably find a lot of situations where he ran out of bullets. But either way, if he can deliver with it, he's been great throughout this tournament, so fair play. Another early stages of the round won by ENCE. They did it so much in the first half. Twist down to about half HP due to the nade, and he is all out of utility. Now, the utility of ENCE is way more valuable because they have so little of it. 1 smoke, 1 flash, 1 nade, and even a decoy down the stretch with over 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock. Without that utility, ENCE not able to fight for mid control. They've got to rely on Alu when this smoke clears. You imagine Team Liquid, due to the fact that they played against so many USPs in the previous round, would realize the AWP is a possibility, and if they didn't, they surely know now. Stewie's lucky to get away with his life. He backs out a connector. Now they all could reconvene towards B. Catwalk is exposed as well.
Yeah, the warning shot rippled out. Now Stewie 2K has been found. Alexi B gonna get 2 of his own. Just watching for the flashback. Sprays on point. Gets 4 in total. Locking it down. 3, pardon me, actually. His teammate came in with 2. But the result is the same, with Liquid being smacked away from B site.
You can see the power of the AUG when you just have it scoped in, holding an angle. Stewie jumping around the corner is an easy target. He's meant to create some space for his teammates, but just hold the trigger, don't move. Alexi's got 2, and the other AUG rings out as well from X7. Nice round for ENCE, not only winning it, but really cementing their grip of the economy with pretty much a clean win.
Thinking about a fast play, Nitro at least.
It feels like they might be. They did the same thing last round. They took a lot of nade damage for it. I think they're just going to try and set up a play for later on in this half. Make sure that those B defenders get used to seeing those flashbangs come out, these smokes as well. This one I think they'll commit with just the pistols. They might wait for any kind of counter nades or counter Molotov. They have 2 more smokes. They can throw again in just a little bit to block off Catwalk. Alexi's there as well. But Alu has rotated to market and he's not budging. Aerial's in connector. He's gonna have a fast flank if he wants it.
They're really trying to burn as much of these grenades as possible. Of course, these are going to have to be replenished later on. X7 still patiently waits. There's been no maneuver through the smoke just yet. Now he's going to start to be drawn back. Here come the pistols. There's some Kevlar behind it as well, but they're stuck in no man's land with X7 spraying wildly from the back of the site. He's dropped 3 alongside his teammate of Aerial, and it's looking pretty much over, a done deal, with ENCE taking the lead once more, but Liquid will have a buy incoming.
ENCE didn't bite on any of those fakes. Obviously, the smokes thrown initially for Team Liquid, designed to get some counter utility out. When the follow-up smokes come, more counter utility is used, but no one's rotating away from that B bomb site. Liquid's trying to say, yeah, we're just gonna throw these smokes to make you feel like it's a B hit, but we might be going back to A, and you have to be honest about it. ENCE didn't care whatsoever. 3 players there. By the time the second fake came out, there was a 4th. Even with the opening 2 kills, still would have been a battle. Back in the hands of Liquid are AKs and a Galil, but they've got a 1-round deficit. This time the bomb lining up outside of A. Smokes in mid, window, catwalk, and connector designed to limit the amount of information. And ENCE giving a new look on their defense as well.
Yeah, Aerial going to go and peek out, but there are now smokes being deployed. Jungle and connector's side going to start to make a little move through. Meanwhile, classic T-strat. 2 players coming up. Oh no, Stewie's found himself. Alexi B partially through the smoke. That's going to keep ENCE on their tiptoes now.
It also gives a warning to Liquid that they had information that no one was in mid, so you have to be careful about that A bomb site. There could be more defenses there than they initially thought, so that's a huge kill and a huge amount of information for Stewie to find. Remaining aggressive though, ENCE still knows that there's no presence in mid. And Aerial's gonna actually start flanking underpass. All this, you can understand why he believes this is the hit that's coming in, but it's the wrong way. Sergey is gonna have so much to do. Alu rotating over as well. Liquid have found the timing, but do they seize it?
And now that Alu's gone back in, and they have another player in the form of X7 making a move over, it seems that Liquid, they had this in the palm of their hands, but they've waited too long. However, with plenty of smokes, the set play coming into fruition, it may not end up mattering a great deal. Alu's gonna snatch at his shot, misses out on both of them. As a result, the A site has been taken pretty comfortably. X7's gonna hold on. There's also a flank. Aerial's now making a move through Palace. Then they're gonna get the plant down with about 8 seconds to go. But can Aerial do any damage? No, he can't. Elige holds the line with the AK. That was everything for this round. If Aerial gets the better of him, it's well and truly back on. And X7 gonna get caught from Stewie 2K's AWP.
You want to talk about narrow margins of victory. If Aerial actually decides to go towards T-ramp, he might just win that round straight up. Very low H people to cover the flank from that position, and also if you could stop that bomb being planted, because it's just a little bit quicker to get involved in the action. Great awareness from Elige. He might have heard a footstep, but that spinning kill is not an easy one to get. 10-10, another good round for Stewie, and another timeout called by ENCE. It's going to be their second as they talk things through. They have 3 players with plenty of money, but Aerial and Alexi have almost nothing. Not enough to drop. This might be a round where they invest in armor and pistols and drop some pistols over to Aerial and Alexi and see what you can get. We're starting to get into the crunch time of this map when economic decisions can weigh so heavily.
Oh, they're going for it as well, you know. They've dropped an MP9. Double AWPs in play with an MP9 and UMP. This puts their grenade total at a very low amount, though. And only 1 kit, Moses. As you say, this is the kind of purchase that could sting ENCE horrifically going forward.
If Liquid is going to realize that it's coming, they are going to play it cautiously in case there's any trickery across the map, but I don't know if you'll expect the double ops. Alexi's got one towards A, Alu has the other, and he's also at the A bomb site. 4 players actually here for ENCE, as X7 hasn't They haven't felt any of that fast pressure towards the B bomb site. The early aggressive postures, throwing nades in towards B to simulate a B rush, have not done their work the way that Liquid would have liked it. The question with this kind of utility, does ENCE ever feel nervous and want to go find information? Do they ever want to see what's coming? Only 3 smokes now.
Negligible damage to Aerial. He's not going to be too bothered by that. And at the same time, Liquid may think that ENCE are onto pistols and armor. May start to move in and be worried about a potential stack.
Well, another round, they found a great timing onto this B bomb site, but they need to get there now. Alexi's just rotated over. He's going to make that stronger with this AWP. There's the AUG, a tough angle to deal with. He's got 2 quick ones. That's the 2nd time he's been effective there, and Alexi rings out with the sniper. And Liquid have nothing left. Back away. ENCE going to grab a lead, and this flank could actually take everything away from Liquid.
And their money is so low, it's why they're trying to save. They want to hold on to this open AK-47. Their sense is tingling though. They realize this rotation could be coming in, but that smoke's not going to stay there forever. Crowd well and truly getting behind ENCE as they're going to take away Naflight. Can they get rid of the AWP? This would be a massive advantage going forward. It doesn't look likely. They're going to be happy with the round win and 4 players going down.
Yeah, remember they didn't have very much money as well, so they'll sacrifice 1 happily, but they won't send more than that. This angle has been tough for Liquid to clear out, and I think if Liquid are going to go back to this B bomb site, they might want to send the Halls players first to at least take X7's attention away, because they seemingly have nothing designed to neutralize that spot.
It was a bit one-dimensional in the end, and I'm going to give a lot of credit to LXCB's AUG work. Now going to be using the AWP for his team. In the exact same position. That grenade could do a bit of chip damage to Nitro, but nothing too serious or severe. Liquid have pretty much forfeited any kind of mid-control here, though.
Well, to this round, they don't really have the weaponry to fight for it, and they're very light on utility, even though they're fully invested, so it's going to be tough to kind of battle with just the pistols. You need those smokes to close the gap, and you have to eventually use them to get onto a bomb site, so we're back into a B hit, where this defense has been strong. X7 is here. Alexi B can be rotated very quickly. ENCE has done such a good job on the CT side of having information, remaining aggressive in certain scenarios so they can know what's coming. This time they'll have no idea, but Nitro, he's got to be the aggressor with the AWP, trying to bait out a shot, and it's all down to the timing of this peak. There's Alexi, tagged halfway now, they know. Flashbang comes out, he wants to go for more, but he better not peek. They're not blind, he's spamming through. An awkward headshot onto Elige, and Naf is low as well. And now all of ENCE is here. And Liquid know that they're just shut down. No path forward, and again, ENCE hold on.
Yeah, X7's amount of damage that was just inflicted instantly put them on the back foot. They're going to try and recoup and regather and head towards the A side. But that's right into the embracing arms of Sergey with his AUG. Aerial tossed in the Molotov just to help his teammate out. And Elige is looking to see if he can find the rotators with his Desert Eagle, but it's not going to be happening. Liquid really have no options at this stage. They're going to try and hold on to the AWP again, of course.
This is so awkward, though, that they're saving these weapons. I mean, Twist and Elige have $0 and $50. They're not going to get any bonus money. So they're going to be stuck another round on Deagles. This is going to be really, really tough down the stretch for them to get out any kind of really strong buy. ENCE is playing lights out at the moment. They have stared down some of these attacks from the Liquid offense, and they haven't blinked. They've just held on. It's really, really great to see. Answering a lot of questions for the following maps in the series. So Liquid, many people's favorites to make it to the grand finals. Many people have pegged this as the event where they finally upset Astralis, perhaps in those grand finals, to take the trophy. And they have an obstacle early on in this playoff run, just the quarterfinals. Down 2 rounds, no money to work with. It's a lot of tough decisions for Liquid to make if they're going to try and come back in this half.
And even if they do navigate over these hurdles and best ENCE, they've got Na'Vi coming up next in the semifinals. It doesn't get any easier.
No, it really doesn't.
They look pretty good against FaZe. Here we go. Can they close it out? Liquid Backs against the wall. ENCE have been looking fantastic on their CT side. And again, just an open play, courtesy of another save. Finns in prime position, but Alu and AlexiB both with their ops. They're gonna find frags and make another one for Alu.
This switch into the double op has been so deadly. As the crowd chants out Alu's names. What a stunning performance, and Liquid don't have an answer for it quite yet. They might just want to fall into a simple set piece, either onto the A bomb site, much like ENCE was doing. At least get in and get the plant, force those ops into a retake. I mean, round 20, Liquid wins that. The next round, ENCE pick up the double ops and just shut them down. Now 3 rounds in a row. And it almost looks like NAF is setting up to save again. He's waiting for Twist to come up catwalk. There's 50 seconds. They need to do some economic damage.
Yeah, with the economy starting to boom, if they don't take any players down, it's just not good enough at this stage. To try and chip away a player or two here on ENCE. Twist and a Desert Eagle, he's had a bit of a quiet game again though, was the B defender. Gonna boost NAF up. Can he find any players down on the bench? Yes, he can. AlexiB caught napping. We're gonna bullet perforating through his head. Now this does give Liquid a chance. They do have control of the bomb, and NAF has found himself a kill on X7. We've got a round of it now, ladies and gentlemen. The bomb's gonna get planted. And ENCE gonna have to try and retake. NAF gonna take the risk of going into apps. He has struck once again. He's gonna have to come out with a 1-on-2 clutch, plus an ace if he's gonna pull this out the hat. ENCE breathing down his neck. Smoke gonna get deployed onto the site and try and skew the vision. Oh, what a flick onto Sergey that is! And now Nafly gonna use that smoke to his advantage, just pulls back to the van. Waiting, anticipating an Alu push. He comes through the shadows! Oh, that's ineffable from Nafly! That's absolutely sensational!
What a map-saving round from NAF. We've seen him do it in the past. He doesn't care whatsoever. This pressure we know doesn't get to him, but this is unforgivable for ENCE to lose this round. A 5-on-2, no utility. NAF does all the entries with the AWP. Some phenomenal flicks. And Liquid pull out a miracle. And now look, what a turnaround, the money for ENCE. If Liquid win this round, that would just be so gutting. They would have nothing left to spend moving forward. They would have to save. And Liquid would gain control of the map and the economy down the stretch. There's a slow peek. Alu can't connect it.
How the tides turn in just one play. An ace, a clutch, and now ENCE. Their resolve is going to get tested again. NAF going to make moves. He had quite a quiet map until that point.
Yeah, you were waiting for that impact we know he's capable of. Aerial heard him just drop down. He's on A ramp, but ENCE have to know that there's at least one player waiting at A ramp. The other 4 in mid. And the question becomes, does NAF turn into a lurk? Peering up to catch off a rotator at the moment. Someone to peek down towards A ramp for information. Aerial's got such a good spot, though I don't think anyone's going to be baited into it. Liquid must win this round. They've had such a tough time against the double op. They've taken those 2 ops away. It's just the 1. But now they need to find an entrance, and NAF can't do it with the AK. The AUG still reigns supreme. And that 1 smoke is just blocking the other half of this Liquid attack. No one could help NAF try and get that entry. No one could trade the kill. And now this flank becomes a huge point of danger.
Just 30 seconds left, but is Aerial going the wrong side? It looked like he was going to start to make a move around mid. Now he's getting into ramp. And the last player of Nitro about to get caught from him. ENCE battle back with a flawless, clean round.
That looked so flat from Liquid. They were never once in that round the aggressors. Maybe NAF peeking up towards A ramp. But it seemed like they were just waiting for someone to walk into their crosshair, and they're spending so much time in these centralized positions that it gives time for the defense to collapse upon them. And maybe some frustration from Stewie. And it's back to pistols, back to nothingness for Liquid. 11-13.
Well, that's the thing, right? Liquid have a phenomenal NAF round, but apart from that, it has seemed quite flat on this half. So you cannot assume that one player is going to come out with performances like that time and time again. If you're not getting the fundamentals and the basics down, ENCE will continue to punish you.
This half to me for Liquid feels like there's just been no energy in it. Like they're doing all the right, I mean, as the desk spoke, very strong fundamentally. They're doing all the right fundamentals. They're going through all the proper steps, but they just haven't been the ones pulling the trigger and actually going for something. And that's given ENCE a 2-round lead down the stretch. Round 25. Liquid is fully purchased in this round. They have no money behind this, no money saved up.
Set play imminent. Waiting to pull the trigger. They've got to commit behind this too. They've used all of their nades, but nothing's going to deal with Alu's presence with the AWP. And Sergey, the youngster, is going to bite down with the AK-47. Alu's going to come through with a couple more. Another clean round for ENCE, only losing Sergey, and they'll be just fine with that result.
Oh, they're going to be so happy with that result. Just sitting back, using the range. There was no danger in that round whatsoever for them losing it. You have X7 on 22. He's been that primary B defender most of it. Alu at 17, 16 for Alexi and Sergey. On the Liquid side of things, it's Stewie with 19, Nitro and Alish with 15.
Are we witnessing the beginning of a massive upset here at the major? Stewie 2K, naded and finished off. Not much in terms of committal in this round from Liquid.
This is the most fast-paced and aggressive I've seen them be in this whole half, and they only have the pistols, so they're I mean, obviously take some risks. But you'd like to see them, ooh! That's nasty. Naf with the deagle. He's even tagging through the box. But eventually gonna go down no matter what. He's created some space that Nitro and Twist think they can get in, but the AUG is gonna cover it. So is the AWP on Alu. 15 for ENCE, 4 chances to close out this opening map.
It is their choice of map, but they have really weathered some difficult moments here on Mirage. A tactical timeout, the final one for Liquid, has been called. What does Hadren have up his sleeve? Now is the time to find out. SG purchased for Alish. Nitro likely will have an AK-47. He can afford a smoke behind that, no problems.
I don't know what the answer is here for Team Liquid. They're gonna have to find it in this timeout as it just ends. So many advantages for ENCE. The money behind this buy, the utility of which there's not much for Liquid. It's a 7-2 run since the guns came into play, since the rifles were brought out on this server. It has been a dominant half for ENCE.
So many close rounds, couple of ridiculous clutches.
And now they're the ones that want to dictate the map. Ariel, look at him. He's watching towards underpass the moment. He's got Alexi covering behind him and Alu in connector, but they're going to take mid control. They want to find out what's coming in this last round. They have 4 to play with, so these aggressive plays are not a bad idea whatsoever. Twist waiting over towards the B bomb site, and again, a timing for Team Liquid where they have such a huge advantage at this A bomb site, only Sergey defending, but if they miss it, if they don't move forward with this dump of utility, they can be in trouble. Ariel's gonna have a fast flank.
Sergey, can he hold on? Can he just get a couple of kills? That could be enough for ENCE to take this first map in the quarterfinals. He's waiting, biding his time to strike, and strike he shall with 3 kills! Nafly, Stewie and Alish all get obliterated. Liquid are being evaporated in front of our very eyes. Add Nitro into the mix. And now Twist's 1 on 4, opposite side of the map.
Well, bit of a wake-up call for Team Liquid in this first map. It's gonna be ENCE taking Mirage. Oh, excuse me. Unless Twist has something to say here. They know where he is. 30 seconds to go hunt down the bomb. You don't like to call these rounds, but the odds are so very low, and he's got to take so many gambles, and none of them are gonna pay off. Alu closes it. And ENCE take Mirage 16-11. A shocking result. Jubilation in the crowd. The fan favorites have taken this map, and Liquid have to be stunned. They have to go back and talk about everything in this break because Map 2 dictates their tournament life, one where they're expected to make it so deep. It might get ended early. We're going to a break. We'll have the desk when we return.